Welcome to the Checkout Point, your quick dive into this week's e-commerce buzz with me, Alex, powered by Blicket. These 20 minutes pack the latest trends, news, and insights. Let's navigate the digital marketplace together. Ready? Let's go!
Hey folks, welcome back to The Checkout Point by Blicket.co. I'm Max, coming to you slightly over-caffeinated as usual and buzzing to dive into this week's e-commerce news.
And I'm Rachel, here to bring you all the latest trends and strategies that you need to know. Can you believe we're already wrapping up another month and heading into April?
I know, right? Time flies when you're having fun or when you're swamped with all things e-commerce. So, Rachel, before we jump in, didn't you just publish a new blog post that's creating quite the stir?
Oh yes, I'm super excited about that. We just launched a blog post titled eCommerce Secrets Boost Your Sales with UX Design and CRO Strategies. I can't wait to get into the nitty-gritty of that with you today.
Absolutely. I've peeked at that post, and folks, Rachel has some killer tips in there. We'll be diving deeper into that during our first segment.
And that's not all for this week. We're on week 14. Can you believe it? We've got some juicy topics coming your way, including eBay's new grading service for trading cards and some fascinating shifts over at Amazon.
Don't forget about Etsy. There's some drama brewing over there that we are itching to discuss. Plus, we'll look into those huge changes at the U.S. Postal Service. Never a dull moment.
And with tech innovations always on the horizon, we'll explore Shopify's new partnerships that are set to revolutionize the e-commerce landscape.
Right, and with all these changes, keeping your digital life secure is more crucial than ever. We'll also talk about what Amazon's shift could mean for small businesses and your privacy.
It's a packed episode, so let's get started. First up, diving into how mastering UX design and conversion rate optimization can seriously boost your online sales.
Hey everyone, welcome back. So, Rachel, you know we've been diving deep into how to enhance online shopping experiences on our site, right?
Absolutely, Max. And speaking of which, we recently unpacked some really juicy details on our blog about, you guessed it, boosting e-commerce sales. The post is all about leveraging UX design and CRO strategies. It's titled eCommerce Secrets, Boost Your Sales with UX Design and CRO Strategies.
Right, and it's perfect timing too, considering we're wrapping up on another month and heading into April. What a great time to start implementing new strategies and optimizing your online store for better performance.
Definitely. So, one of the first points we discuss in the blog is how crucial user experience, or UX, is. It's not just about making your site look pretty. It's about making it functional and easy to navigate. This can seriously reduce bounce rates and boost conversions.
Yeah, and adding to that, the blog goes into detail about streamlining the checkout process. It's amazing how many sales are lost at that final hurdle just because the checkout process is too clunky or confusing.
Oh, totally. Another key takeaway was about conversion rate optimization, or CRO. We highlighted some strategies like A/B testing different elements of your website. It's fascinating to see how small tweaks can lead to significant impacts on sales.
Absolutely. A/B testing is like the secret sauce. You think something's going to work, but you don't know until you have the data to back it up. That's what makes UX and CRO more of a science than anything else.
Exactly, Max. And beyond just the techie stuff, we also touch on the human element, understanding your customer's journey from the moment they land on your site to the point of purchase. Empathy plays a big role here.
Yep, stepping into your customer's shoes can really illuminate what changes need to be made. Listeners, you'll find even more in-depth discussions and examples in the full blog post.
For sure, and whether you're a seasoned e-commerce merchant or just starting out, there's something valuable in there for you. It's all about optimizing what you have to provide the best user experience while maximizing conversions.
Couldn't have said it better myself. Check out the full post on Blicket.co. Just search for e-commerce secrets in our blog section. Trust us, it's worth a read.
And don't forget to play around with those strategies. Consider what changes you can implement as we move into April. New month, new goals, right?
Right on, Rachel. Now let's keep this rolling and dive into our next topic. Hey, Rachel, I just saw something super cool. eBay is stepping up its game in the trading card scene. They're going to start offering a grading option during the card authentication process. Isn't that wild?
Wait, seriously? That's such a game changer for collectors, but Max, for someone like me who's a bit less techy, can you break that down? What does grading actually mean here?
Oh, absolutely. So, you know when someone collects trading cards like Pokemon or baseball cards, the condition of the card is super important, right?
Right, it affects the value and all that jazz.
Exactly. So, grading is basically like getting a report card for your card. It's assessed by professionals who check out everything from the corners of the card to its color and can give it a score. Now, with eBay offering this during the authentication check, it means you can know the grade of your card when you buy it online, directly through their platform.
Oh, I get it now. That sounds like it could really boost buyer confidence. And I suppose it makes life easier, knowing exactly what you're getting into.
For sure. And speaking of making life easier, guess what Amazon is up to now?
Oh, let me guess. Their packages will now deliver themselves directly into my living room?
Not quite, but hey, don't give them any ideas. No, they're actually setting up pickup and return locations at military installations. Pretty thoughtful, huh?
That definitely adds a layer of convenience, but I'm not entirely convinced. I'm wondering about privacy or the logistics of setup. Do we know how they're handling that?
Those are super valid points. From what I understand, it's intended to streamline the process for service members and their families, making access to goods and returns straightforward, especially in locations which are, well, kind of out of the way.
That does make sense. And honestly, I can see that making a big difference for families who are often on the move. It's one of those things that seems small, but probably has a huge impact on day-to-day life.
Exactly. Oh, and speaking of events that have a big impact, can you believe we're wrapping up another month? Heading into April already.
I know, right? Time flies when you're having fun, or when you're deep into discussing the latest marketplace and platform developments.
And just thinking about the start of April, that's prime spring cleaning season. Maybe it's a good time to dig through the junk drawer and see what could be sent off for trade or return at these new fancy Amazon spots at military bases, huh?
Well, that definitely reminds me to clear out my garage. Maybe I'll find some trading cards to send off for eBay's new grading service.
There you go, turning chores into treasure hunting. That's the spirit, Rachel.
It's a knack. But seriously, both of these developments show how companies like eBay and Amazon are thinking creatively to tailor their services. It's not just about selling. It's about enhancing the whole experience.
Spot on, and as we keep an eye on these innovations, it'll be interesting to see how they evolve and what new changes pop up.
Absolutely. And to our listeners, keep sending in your thoughts and questions. We love hearing what you think about all these changes, too.
Hey, Rachel, have you heard what's buzzing over at Etsy lately? It seems like their sellers are now stepping up in the spotlight, but not exactly for the best reasons.
Oh, you mean the whole account verification mess? Yeah, I was just reading about that. Sounds like a real headache for some folks there.
Exactly. So here's the deal. Imagine you've set up this super cool shop, right? You're selling like handmade wizard hats or quirky cookies shaped like famous memes. And suddenly, bam! Etsy is knocking on your virtual door asking for verification.
Wait, seriously? I mean, verification sounds simple enough, but what's the snag here?
Well, it's kind of like when you try to log into your email and it says, "We don't recognize your device." And then you're stuck trying to remember if your backup email was coolcat123 or supercoolcat1234.
That's so annoying, but it's necessary, right? I mean, ensuring that there aren't any scam artists or bots setting up shop seems essential. But here's what I'm wondering. How smooth is this process? Are sellers finding it straightforward?
That's the million-dollar question. It seems it's not as smooth as you'd hope. Some sellers are actually getting locked out of their accounts during the verification process. And let me tell you, Rachel, this is causing more drama than a surprise math test.
No way! That has to be super frustrating, especially if you rely on your shop for income. But switching gears a bit, did you catch the news about Etsy's new CTO appointment?
Oh, you mean the exec from Depop? That's a game changer. Maybe they'll bring in some fresh ideas to streamline things like, I don't know, the verification process.
Exactly. That's such a good point. It's always refreshing to see new tech leaders potentially bringing in innovative solutions. Speaking of refresh, can you believe we're wrapping up on another month and heading into April?
Honestly, where does the time go? It's like 1 minute you're making New Year's resolutions and the next you're planning April Fool's pranks.
Oh no, Max. Should I be worried about what prank you're cooking up for the studio?
Maybe just a little. But back to Etsy, it'll be interesting to see if there are any big changes with this new CTO on board. Maybe April will bring not just pranks, but also, promise for smoother sailing for all those Etsy sellers out there.
Fingers crossed, because everyone loves shopping for those unique handmade items, and it'd be such a win to see Etsy handle these hiccups better. Here's hoping for a fool-free April for Etsy, right?
Oh, absolutely. All right, fam, let's keep an eye on how this unfolds. So, Rachel, just when we thought things were getting a little quiet in the tech world, Amazon drops a couple of bombshells on us. First up, they're trimming down their FBA support staff. That's fulfillment by Amazon, for those who might not be into the whole acronym scene.
Oh, really? That's quite a shift, Max. Amazon's FBA service is huge for small businesses that rely on Amazon's logistics to sell products. This must be a bit nerve-wracking for them, huh?
Absolutely, it's super important. Imagine you're a small shop online, right? Using FBA is like having a giant superhero backing you up with all the heavy lifting, from storage to shipping. Now, picture if that superhero started taking more coffee breaks.
Not the ideal time for a coffee break, superhero. But seriously, it does raise questions about how this will impact the level of service and support those small businesses get. On one hand, Amazon's always been a game changer in logistics. On the other hand, even superheroes need a solid team behind them, right?
Exactly my point. And speaking of changing the game, here's another curveball. Amazon is ramping up how they use shopper data to power their ad business. Seems like they're getting even smarter with their ads.
Wait, seriously? I mean, it makes sense, using what they know about shopping habits to make ads more targeted. But here's what I'm wondering. Where's the line between useful and, a bit too invasive?
That's the million-dollar question, isn't it? Think of it like this. If Amazon were a mind reader at a party, initially, it's super cool. He knows exactly what gift you want for your birthday before even you do. But then it gets to the point where he starts suggesting gifts for next year's birthday and the year after.
I definitely start wondering if I should even bother being surprised at any party ever again. But jokes aside, it does highlight an important conversation about data privacy and user consent, which thankfully is getting more attention lately.
Speaking of attention, can you believe we're wrapping up another month already? We're heading into April.
No way, this year's flying by. Feels like just yesterday we were making our New Year's resolutions, and here we are, April's on the doorstep. Honestly, though, all this talk about changes at Amazon and data usage is reminding me to maybe update my own tech habits. Maybe a spring digital cleanup? Freshen up those passwords and privacy settings?
That's a stellar idea, Rachel. A bit of digital spring cleaning could definitely be beneficial. Keeps things tidy and, who knows, maybe even a bit safer from those overly insightful party mind readers, huh?
Exactly, Max. And for anyone listening who runs a small business, maybe take this as a nudge to check on how changes at big services like Amazon might affect you. Keeping ahead of the game is always better than playing catch-up.
Couldn't agree more. And for all our savvy listeners navigating these tech waters, keep those questions coming and let's steer through these changes together. Hey, Rachel, so you know how we're always talking about how online stores can jazz up their user experience, right?
Oh, absolutely. It's like every time I'm shopping online, I think about how this or that could be better. What's the scoop?
Check this out. Shopify is making some serious moves. They've teamed up with two companies, Contentful and Pipe 17, to enhance their platform. It's super cool stuff.
Wait, start with Contentful. What's that partnership all about?
Right, so Contentful is adding some AI-powered tools to help Shopify merchants create more dynamic online shops. Imagine you're building a Lego set, but instead of digging through a box for the right pieces, an AI sorts them for you and suggests creative new ways to put them together.
That sounds incredibly handy. I mean, managing web content can be like herding cats, honestly. So I'm guessing this would make things a lot smoother.
Exactly. It's basically giving shop owners superpowers to organize and display their products. Like, Zap, here's your suggestion for better customer interaction.
Superpowers, huh? I love that visual. But here's what I'm wondering. How does it all actually come together for the shop owner?
Good point. So, imagine you're using a super intuitive interface that not only helps you manage what's already there, but also uses AI to predict and suggest what your customers might like or want next. It's like having a crystal ball.
Wow, okay. A crystal ball that makes sure you don't stock up on Halloween decorations in February, right?
Exactly. It's all about timing. And speaking of timing, they're not stopping there. Shopify is also pairing up with Pipe 17.
Oh, I just have to jump in here. Isn't Pipe 17 that integration platform? What are they cooking up with Shopify?
Spot on. They're working to make it easier for Shopify merchants to scale across various sales channels. So, if you're selling on your website, Amazon, and let's say Etsy, Pipe 17 helps streamline all that. No more juggling a dozen tabs and pulling your hair out.
I can picture some of our listeners nodding in agreement right now. So it's kind of like having a super efficient assistant who knows exactly where every item is supposed to go and manages it across all these platforms.
You nailed it. It's like your very own retail orchestra conductor.
I'm not entirely convinced that everyone would jump on board straight away, though. Some might be a bit skeptical about letting these new tools take the reins, you know?
True. But think about it. We're wrapping up another month here, heading into April, and it's the perfect time for businesses to start fresh. Perhaps try something new with these shiny tools as they gear up for the rest of the year.
That's such a good point. A little spring cleaning for your business model, perhaps.
Exactly. Out with the old, in with the new. Digitally speaking, of course. Schools are doing it. Businesses are doing it. Why not e-commerce?
I can definitely see the appeal, Max. Adopting these enhancements could really change the game for small to medium-sized shops trying to make their mark.
Totally. Anything that can simplify processes and amplify results is a game changer in my book. Well, folks, if you're as curious as we are about seeing these partnerships blossom, keep an eye out. It sounds like Shopify's gearing up to make some waves.
And who doesn't love some good innovation waves, right? Let's see how it all pans out.
All right, Rachel, brace yourself because the winds of change are sweeping through the U.S. Postal Service again.
Oh, do tell. I bet this has something to do with all the recent postal buzz, right?
Exactly. Two big news items that could shake things up. First, starting April 1st, some rural areas might experience slower mail delivery times. And here's the kicker. It's not an April Fool's joke.
Wait, seriously? That sounds like a pretty big deal for people living in those areas.
Totally. And here's the deal. It's mainly because the USPS is adjusting transit times. It's kind of like when you're playing a game of hot potato, but instead of speeding up, everyone starts moving in slow motion.
Not the kind of game change anyone would hope for, but hey, speaking of changes, I heard that DeJoy is out as the head of USPS as of today. That's pretty unexpected, right?
No way. That's a game changer for sure. It'll be interesting to see how this might impact their operations going forward. Maybe it's time for a fresh start.
I'm not entirely convinced things will turn around quickly, though. I mean, these kinds of big organizational changes take time, don't they?
For sure, it's like turning around a giant ship, but you gotta start somewhere. Speaking of starts, we're wrapping up on another month and heading into April. Man, time flies.
Tell me about it. Feels like just yesterday we were ringing in the new year. Speaking of which, it'll be interesting to see if the USPS's New Year's resolutions include improving service for everyone, not just city folk.
Right? And let's hope they remember the little guys out in the rural areas. They need love too.
Exactly. So what do you think could help the USPS solve some of these challenges?
Honestly, I think it's all about balance. They've got to find a way to streamline their operations while still keeping everyone's mail zooming along, like a well-oiled conveyor belt in one of those mega factories.
That's such a good point. It'd be super cool to see them pull that off, and maybe with new leadership, fresh ideas will help them get there.
Let's keep our fingers crossed on that. It'll be something to watch over the coming months, for sure.
Absolutely. Can't wait to see how it all unfolds. And hey, who knows? Maybe we'll be pleasantly surprised.
Here's hoping. Hey, ever wonder what it'd be like to actually work at a post office during these changes?
Oh, talk about being in the eye of the storm, but that's a story for another day, right?
You bet. Stay tuned, folks. So, Rachel, have you noticed your inbox looking kind of like a jungle lately? Just when I thought I had my email marketing strategies down, bam. It seems like the honeymoon period is ending.
Oh, absolutely, Max. It's like every brand suddenly had the same aha moment and decided to up their game at the same time. What's going on?
Yeah, it's like everyone got the memo that just bombarding folks with emails isn't the golden ticket anymore. Users are getting smarter, filters are getting tighter. Honestly, it's a whole new digital world.
That reminds me, there's actually been a big shakeup with Google, too. They just updated their unfair advantage policy. Advertisers are kind of scrambling to see what this means for them.
Google always keeping us on our toes. What's the scoop there?
Well, let's just say Google is cracking down on ads that use data in ways that could be seen as unfair. So now advertisers need to be super careful about how they leverage proprietary information. Unfair advantage sounds like something out of a spy movie, right?
No kidding. They should have a reality show. Google's gotcha. But seriously, it's like walking on a tightrope now, trying to balance effective marketing and staying within these new guardrails.
I'm not entirely convinced everyone will navigate this change smoothly. What do you think businesses should be focusing on then?
Great question. I think it's about going back to basics, but in a smart way. Like understanding your audience and engaging with them authentically, not just seeing them as data points,
Exactly. And speaking of engagement, we're wrapping up on another month, heading into April. I always love seeing how brands shift their strategies with the seasons, like getting all those spring-themed emails and ads that pop up.
True. It's all tulips and spring cleaning discounts. But it's cool to see how creative they can get, especially under these new policies. It's like a challenge, right?
Definitely a challenge, but also a chance to get creative. Maybe incorporating more user-generated content or tapping into micro-influencers for a more organic reach.
Sounds like a game changer to me. Let's keep a close eye on how all this unfolds. Maybe even follow up on this in a future chat.
I'd love that. Plus, I'm curious to see how all these changes affect the little guys, small businesses navigating these big waves.
Well, we'll be here to break it down. Keep it real and keep it relevant.
As always, I can't wait to see those innovative April campaigns and maybe declutter my own inbox a bit.
Good luck with that. It's a wild world out there in the digital marketing jungle. And just like that, we're wrapping up week 14 of The Checkout Point. Can you believe it, Rachel? We're heading into April already.
It's flying by, Max. Hey, everyone. Thanks for hanging out with us. Today, we dove into everything from eBay's new trading card service to those big changes over at Etsy. So much to keep up with.
Oh, absolutely. And I've got to say, the bit about Amazon tweaking their ads strategy, that just sticks in my mind. Imagine what you could do if you knew what Amazon knows.
For sure, I was really struck by how Shopify is teaming up with the likes of Contentful and Pipe 17. Those AI tools sound like they could seriously simplify life for online shop owners.
Well, I'm just hoping Shopify sends some of that AI magic my way so it can handle my laundry.
Don't we all, Max? If you enjoyed today's chat and even Max's terrible jokes, we'd love it if you came back next week for more e-commerce insights. And hey, swing by blicket.co for more cool resources.
Absolutely. From insightful UX design tips to how the digital marketplace keeps evolving, there's always something new to learn with us.
Yeah, and think about what these changes mean for your shopping or business strategies as we cruise into another busy month. What stood out to you today? What are your big questions for April? Let's keep the conversation going.
So, until next time, keep your carts full and your returns low. We'll catch you next week.
Thanks again for joining us, everyone. Stay curious and take care. Bye for now.
See you.